First of all, thank you for attending our press conference today regarding EdChoice and school vouchers. My name's Mike Holbrooke, and I have the pleasure of serving as superintendent of Hamilton City Schools here in Butler County. Today, we have representatives from Hamilton County, Butler County, Warren County, Claremont, and Preble County, all standing in unison to support Senate Bill 89 as the first step in school voucher reform. Senate Bill 89 represents a fundamental shift in our voucher system from a failed school approach to an income-based approach. We know that the data used for the failed school approach that is generated by the state report card is flawed, and this must change. Senate Bill 89 will end the policy that forces public school districts and taxpayers from paying for private school tuition. A recent poll conducted by the National School Boards Action Center concluded that 73% of voters do not favor using public funds for private school tuition. 73%. Currently, this year, the state of Ohio is allocating nearly $1 billion for charter schools as well as school vouchers. That's $1 billion that is not getting into public school classrooms. This must change now. Although Senate Bill 89 is the first step in school reform, any final legislation must include the following pieces. It must include a plan that ends the failed school model based on a flawed state report card system. It must include moving to an income-based approach that prioritizes low-income kids, with the neediest kids getting top priority. This was the original intent of school choice in Ohio when it was initiated. The current state report card model is unfair, biased, and inaccurate. It is labeled communities, districts, and schools as failing, and nothing could be further from the truth with that. A plan must also directly fund a model from the state that does not take monies away from public schools. If the legislature determines that vouchers are good policy, although 73% of the public says that it isn't, then we simply ask the legislature to pay for them and end the shell game being played with locally voted property tax dollars and state dollars. Community members who have supported local school tax levies did not support those levy dollars going to pay for private school tuition. A plan must require all schools that accept vouchers be held to the same accountability standards as public schools. Enrollment policies that do not discriminate against any student who applies using a voucher must be included in any plan. As Ohio moves to real true reform, addressing the state testing issue and addressing a flawed state report card system is a must. Both are ineffective, flawed, and are at the real heart of this issue. Today, you're going to hear testimony and conversation from a number of different individuals. We're going to have the president of the Fairfield School Board and Butler Tech School Board, Michael Burton, who is also a parent of someone that has sent their children to private school, speak. We're going to have Julie Gibson, a parent from Middletown City Schools, speak, and we're going to have Todd Bowen, who's the superintendent of Northwest Local Schools in Hamilton County, speak. It is my distinct pleasure right now to bring to the podium Mr. Michael Burton, President, Fairfield City Schools and Butler Tech. Michael.
Good morning. I'm Michael Burton, President of Fairfield City School District Board of Education and Butler Technology and Career Development Schools Board of Education. First, let me state that I am a proud product of Catholic education at St. Catherine Elementary in Cincinnati and St. Xavier High School. I believe there is a value in private education. However, not on the financial backs of public schools. With EdChoice, public schools are being punished for their lowest performing test takers. Yet students need to take tests to get into those most private schools. Thus, the students who could complain that they are not being educated in their public school will never be able to use the EdChoice scholarships. It's only the students who are succeeding in our public schools who will be able to take advantage of the opportunity that the state has afforded them. And there lies the issue. The scholarships are supposed to help the children who claim they can't get a good education from their public school. That's not what's going to happen. It's the child who is getting a good education who will be able to accept their scholarships because they can test well enough to qualify to attend the private schools. EdChoice diverts monies away from its intended users. When I explained to my father, who put 10 children through Catholic schools, what the EdChoice expansion scholarships were going to do, I expected him to say, "I wish that was around when I put you kids through school." But he didn't. He said, "This is an attack on public education." He was also upset that his state taxes were going to fund private education because he knows that he will now be asked to pass a new local tax levy to replenish the state funds diverted to private schools. Community members who supported local tax levies for their school districts were not told their property taxes would be used to subsidize private school tuition. This is class warfare and pilfering of tax dollars. Most school board members believe in school choice, but it must be equitable school choice. EdChoice recipient schools must be held to the same standards as public schools. If a private school accepts EdChoice vouchers, then they should be forced to take all students that apply. Public schools must take every child that comes to the door to be educated. Some people believe that it would be unfair to make private schools take all that apply because private schools would fill and have no room for other applicants. Public schools can't refuse a student because the schools are full. We must adapt, expand our classroom sizes, go back to the local taxpayers to build new school buildings. Once a school opens the EdChoice revenue stream, they should be held to the same entry standards that the public schools in Ohio must follow. My biggest issue is students are not required to have attended their local public school to access the scholarship money. The public schools may have never received any funds for that student and never had a chance to prove they could educate that child, yet must now pay for that student to attend a private school. I want to congratulate Fairfield Freshman School for receiving the State Board of Education's Momentum Award for the third consecutive year. However, according to ODE, under the EdChoice, any current Fairfield City School 8th grader can avoid attending this award-winning school next year as a 9th grader because our senior high school in grades 10 through 12 is on the EdChoice list. The freshman school is not on that list, yet some of its incoming students can opt for private education at Fairfield City School District's expense. I'm very proud that my wife Susan and I sent our 4 children through Fairfield City Schools. They are thriving in adulthood. Their school system did not fail them. They all graduated with honors, yet with different GPAs because children learn at different speeds. My children have some friends who are not productive members of society. Their schools did not fail them either. Those friends made a series of bad decisions that caused them to struggle through life. I was fortunate to be at the Ohio State House last week to witness the House overwhelmingly pass the amended Senate Bill 89 by an 88-7 vote. I urge the Senate to work with the House to significantly reduce the number of buildings on the eligibility list or phase out district-paid EdChoice vouchers, thus ending the failed schools model for vouchers. I asked them to limit the income-based voucher eligibility to 250% of the poverty level with the poorest kids getting top priority, and require state to pay for those vouchers. I also urge legislators to support a plan that moves Ohio closer to real reform on school testing in the present report card system, which is broken and is really at the heart of this issue. Our students and teachers are spending too much time on state and federally funded testing. Save our schools and save the institution of public education, where all students can succeed at the speed at which they are capable. Public schools meet children where they are, with our individualized learning programs to our vigorous advanced placement courses. Please contact your legislators today and tell them you want equitable school funding by ending the EdChoice scholarship expansion. Thank you. It's now my pleasure to introduce Julie Gibson, a parent from Middletown City Schools.
My name is Julie Gibson. I'm here today as a voice for all parents with children in the Middletown and Ohio public schools. I'm a very proud parent of 4 children. The oldest is a college graduate, and my 3 younger children are in the Middletown City Schools. Gracie is at the high school, Ellie is at the middle school, and Will is at the elementary school. 5 years ago, after having children in private schools for 12 years, I decided to switch and send my kids to the Middletown school system. The main reason for this switch at that time was for financial reasons. Naturally, I questioned myself, was I making the right choice for my kids, as I want the absolute best for them? Little did I know that I was opening the door to endless opportunities in the Middletown public school system, and I've never looked back. Recently, the EdChoice voucher became available in my area. Many friends called me saying, "Are you going to switch your kids to the private school now that it's free?" I reminded them that this was not free. They were taking my tax money intended for my children at the public school and putting it in the privately funded schools. The state has no right to take the taxpayers' money and decide to do this. I am proud to say that the EdChoice program was not a consideration. I'm a believer in the Middletown City Schools, and here's why. The Middletown City School Administration has done the right thing for the Middletown schools. They believe in the Middletown, and they have developed and worked so hard to improve and implement an incredible future for the Midi Rising. Because of their support, dedication, Middletown schools are improving. The passion of the administration and teachers is absolutely priceless. There's an energy when I walk into my kids' schools. The hands-on approach to learning has my children excited for school. The new Midi Rising academic programs offered to my children, they're incredible. My 9th grader was given a project in the English class to make a brochure. The class took a bus to a local business. There they listened to the owner educate them about his company. It was then up to the kids to go back and make a brochure that would be used at the company for the customers. This simple English project to make a brochure has now turned into lessons in business, communications, marketing, sales, and graphic design. Most importantly, my daughter was introduced to future career paths, and the excitement she had in that project was so exciting for a parent to see. Another outstanding program is the monthly Midi Makers program, introducing the students to STEM, the science, technology, engineering, and math. Once a month, the children participate in different activities, giving them functional learning in these areas. Children have opportunities to learn coding, build bridges, circuits, and so many other projects. I am thankful for the Middletown City Schools, as my children are excited for the future. They love going to school and learning for all these hands-on projects. All of the wonderful programs I am sharing with you is about my public school district. But take a look at each individual behind me. They are representing the schools in Southwest Ohio. We are all standing here today celebrating the wonderful opportunities of the public school system. These are the people who are making the difference in my children's lives, not the state. From a parent, I applaud and thank you for all the wonderful things you are doing to educate my kids. The one aspect of life I can promise my kids is that change is inevitable. People and communities go through highs and lows. The people and communities who pull through the best and succeed through these hard times are the ones who always have the strongest support system. Our school system is no different. To offer the best possible education, the schools need the funding from the state. I'm here because the state continues to rely on what they call a flawed and broken report card system. If it is broken, why are you not taking the steps to fix it? Let's take a different spin on this. If Starbucks had bad reviews for their coffee, they would not be handing out gift cards to every person walking in, sending them over to Dunkin' Donuts. They would invest the money back into their product. If the schools are failing, invest back. Invest in my kids and do not take away these opportunities and resources. Invest the money back to the areas that are broken. My kids are thriving, and I want to see them continue in this path. In Middletown, I personally know a handful of families who choose to send their kids to the private school. They have always had full intentions to send their kids to the private schools from day one. The EdChoice program is now saving them a lot of money as they are sending their kids to school on the program. They are literally enjoying this free ride. To see my tax money taken advantage of in this way is disappointing, to say the least. Mindfully so, they are rightfully working the system. And to think that the private schools can pick if the child is accepted. Shouldn't every child have the opportunity? By doing this, you are taking away from my kids' opportunities. As a taxpayer in Middletown, I choose to send my kids to the public schools to be enriched with the benefits provided by my tax money. I do not want my tax money going to the private schools. Let them be funded privately as they were set up and intended to be. Stop depleting my kids of the opportunities because the funding is being handed over. The public school children are preparing to be our next leaders, medical workers, policemen. The public school children are our future, too. The schools need the state's support. Having the support and sufficient funding for the schools to excel and improve begins from the state. This, in turn, makes great schools, it makes a great place to raise a family, and enriches every community. One last thing. Earlier, you heard me say that the Middletown City School District has done right by my kids. As a parent, I need the elected senators and the House of Representatives to do the right thing for my kids too. I'm counting on you. Thank you.
I don't really know if I can follow that. You have our stakeholder, and you have the three most important people in this room standing there. So I applaud you for speaking forward. And I also want to remind folks that these type of testimonies, if you can recruit parents or kids to take time to go to Columbus this week, yes, it is an hour and a half from here, But if you listen to what the pro folks for EdChoice are saying, they are criticizing public schools and not giving the full story. And any chance you would have to go up and speak on behalf of public schools and what it's done for you or your family would be greatly appreciated. My name is Todd Bowen. I'm the superintendent of Northwest Local Schools. Today we represent public schools, and we would like to address the current state of EdChoice and Senate Bill 89. This includes behind me board members, superintendents, treasurers, our families, and our most important assets, our students. We are here to talk about Senate Bill 89, which ends a failed school model for vouchers and moves to an income-based approach that prioritizes low-income kids, with the poorest kids getting the top priority. Ohio's school accountability system has major flaws in it. However, let me be clear. No one here today, no one in our classrooms, and no one behind me is opposed to accountability. We embrace it because we believe in the work of our teachers and our staff and what they are doing daily. What we have a problem with is the broken system. Our students and teachers are spending too much time on state and federally mandated testing, of which Ohio requires more than federal law. These are not diagnostic tests, which would be helpful, designed to inform and improve education that we are providing for students. They are instead high-pressure, high-stake tests that have taken a life of their own and are stressing out a lot of public school students. We believe we can do better if all of us, legislators, educators, and parents, truly collaborate and develop a school accountability system that works for Ohio schools, and most importantly, the three standing to my right. Senate Bill 89 begins the transition to a direct funding approach instead of the shell game deduct funding system Ohio uses today. It's been found unconstitutional for a long time. There's a reason for that. It needs to be fixed. Under Senate Bill 89, first-time voucher recipients will be directly funded beginning with the 2020-2021 school year by the state. If the legislator, in its wisdom, determines that vouchers are good public policy, I would simply ask that the legislators to pay for them and end the shell game of diverting locally voted property taxes to private school vouchers. The income-based approach is much healthier because it focuses on what really matters, which is the opportunity for young people. It's important to remember that's why we're here today, not to subsidize private education. We have to put an end to public schools paying for private school tuition. Senate Bill 89 puts an end to a flawed system, as we have said many times. When our funding is cut to pay for private schools, we then have to make reductions due to the loss of funding. I was asked in Columbus, if this goes through, how does it affect you? My class sizes will balloon from 1 to 20, 1 to 25, which we're lucky enough to have, up to 35 or 40 because we don't get extra funding. We've all been flat funded for 2 years. None of our taxpayers passed our school levy so their tax dollars could be subsidized for private school kids. Where is it in our Constitution that public tax dollars can be used to pay for private companies and religious-based schools with public monies? By inappropriately deducting aid from local districts, it diverts locally voted tax dollars to pay for vouchers. Northwest Local School District, as well as several districts behind me, have over 50 to 60% of our students on free and reduced lunch, and some even higher. We are capped in our funding, so we only receive out of the $6,000, $2,400 per student. Some behind me are even less. We have a flawed report card system that states over 1,200 schools are failing. This is not true by any means. In 2020, schools are better than they have ever been. We allow all students, and I emphasize all students in a public school system, to participate without any discrimination. Voucher advocates will say their plan is to provide a way for poor students who attend failing schools to give them a chance to attend private schools. Yet, there is no system of accountability. Test scores that were just recently put out by the Fordham Institute show they are not performing any better than public schools, and in most cases performing way lower than the school districts you see in front of you today. Letters from private schools to parents state that they will not change entrance requirements and that their enrollment is capped. They are discriminating against our students before they ever get a chance to apply. I would like you to meet two students. The first one is James. James is a senior at one of our high school. He takes all honor students and advanced classes, and is a member of our choir, plays basketball, is a leader in our school, and has been accepted and will attend Mount St. Joe's next fall, where he will continue his basketball career and receive financial scholarships due to his outstanding academic record in playing basketball. The second student is Archer. He is also a senior at one of our schools. Archer takes a full schedule of college credit plus courses and AP advanced placement courses. He is a young life leader and a leader within our high school. Archer has been exposed to high-level academics in our Butler Tech career programs for the past 5 years. He has been accepted into 5 to 6 colleges, but he has decided to become a fireman so that he can give back to the community he comes from, a public school community. Both of these students have excellent academic achievements and have various avenues for opportunity upon graduation from the state, but now we have these kids graduating from so-called failing schools. These two are not failing. They do have a problem, however. James and Archer are two of our many high school students in our districts that are achieving success in public education. However, due to a flawed system, they are being told they are attending a failing school. What they would really like to know is, why are they only worth $2,400 each and a voucher student gets $6,000? How is that fair? How is that equitable? And how do I justify it to these two kids? You're only worth $2,400, where a kid who's never stepped foot in our school district we know nothing about is worth $6,000. Community members who supported local tax levies for their school districts were not told their property taxes would be used to subsidize private school tuition. No voters in any of our districts behind me passed a new levy in November and told their taxpayers, you will lose your tax-paying dollars to private schools. We were lucky enough to pass a 7.5 mil levy, and we told our public it would last 3 to 5 years. If things don't change, we're back at the polls next November. Again, there is no system of measurement for private schools. They do not participate in audits. They do not have all certified staff as we are required to have, and there is no accountability. Private schools do not accept all students, just those that meet their entrance requirements. Public schools do not discriminate based on ability level, passing an entrance exam, or being a student with special needs. The majority of us standing here today are products of public school systems. We are proud, and we will do whatever it takes to fight for our students and continue to offer them a free from discrimination education that will help them become great contributing members to our society. We'd like to thank you for being here today, but as we end, we will be available to the media. But I think it's very important that you look beyond superintendents and go to treasurers who do the money on a daily basis, and most importantly, we have students and a mom up here. You also have folks who are behind me who are staff members, but they also went and have kids attending public schools. So there will be plenty of opportunity for you to check with them. Lastly, if you get a chance, Saturday morning from 9 to 11, they're taking testimonies up in Columbus. Monday morning also from 9 to 12, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evening at 5 o'clock. Right now, the game that's being played is pro EdChoice folks are showing up and talking about what a bad public school experience they had. I think you just saw from what was presented prior to me, that's not the case. And I think it's time for us to stand up together. Public Education Week is coming up the 24th, I believe. Make sure we're all supporting that, and thank you for your time today.